something that Wilder said where he didn't really understand what he was actually saying.
And like Stephen Espinosa, he said that sometimes when you lose, you win. And that was a great quote for him, you know.
So Wilder there talking like the beaten man.
You know, they're selling y'all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I back. Trust me, I back.
But I'm not impressed by your performance.
You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you will do nothing.
I'll tell you what, bro. I was out there, I was fighting all the hitters, bro. You ain't fought no hitters.
Come on, guys. It's normal.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I would kill you.
John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
No, don't be scared, homie.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
I'm gonna beat you into the living death. I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, you know, people like that get slapped.
That's fucking illegal.
Nick Diaz, you just shook up the world. How's that feel?
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Yeah, this is a simulated death match. And you haven't simulated anybody's death yet.
I said it last year. We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
What is the game plan going in against him?
The game plan is you go in there, hit him with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a pocket full of cash.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
Do you want to be a fighter? That is my question.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Hit the like button of the show, subscribe, listen on podcast, drop that review. Obviously, it's Matt, the hipster hunter. It's going to be a good show. I'm feeling it. It's going to be an interesting show. I'm joined today by a special co-host, one that's going to be joining me a lot heading forward. And I'll get to him in a second. Apparently, he's making some intro. I don't know if it's going to be done by the time I'm done talking. Maybe you can let me know that. Okay, it's not. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. But obviously, this show is going to be all over the place because, A, we're going to get through all of the weekend's fights and preview them. So Lomachenko, Pedraza, the Kell Brook comeback, all that stuff we are going to talk about, along with the Wilder and Fury pay-per-view numbers, Crawford Khan, Triple G going to DAZN or PBC. All the boxing news and information of the day is going to be discussed on today's show. Our MMA only show will happen tomorrow, just for those that want to know it. And obviously, like I said, smash that fucking like button. But in the meantime, since he doesn't have his intro made, I have an old one. An oldie, but a goodie.
And the main thing we cannot forget is I am the unified heavyweight champion.
You predicted BJ was going to beat me, didn't you? You predicted he was going to beat me. He got smashed.
All these years, the UK fighters had to go to America. Everyone had to spend a heap of money to go to Vegas. We can do it in London, around Wembley, Cardiff. It's local. We're staying right here. Wilder, let's go, baby! Let's go!
I smashed your body, your playmate, your playboy, your nightclub buddy, and I will smash you the exact same way.
Dylan White, Derek Chisora, Big Baby Miller, Joe Joyce. You can all have it. Dominic Brazil. Whoever else is in America too. All of it.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Let people rub it on. That's why God gave you one mouth. And two ears. Do more listening than talking. Rather talk sort of shit.
Get him in the ring and I'll knock him spark out. Thank you very much.
All you gotta do is set the date. Don't wait, mate.
I want smoke.
Mr. Robbie Hearns, how are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. Another long ass intro to make the show longer.
They're gonna be hating us so much.
No, I'll work on a new one for the Mixed Combat Radio boxing show because it's obviously the one you have is very MMA heavy. So yeah, we'll come up with a new one for the boxing part of things. But yeah, I'm over here, ready to talk some boxing. Could just do a little sound check, Matt, because I think my headphones, normally there's a lot of noise coming down them.
Oh no, it sounds pretty good. You all sound good.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good. It's just usually a lot of shouting and stuff. Cool. Let's go. What do you want to talk about?
Yo, it's gonna be a fun show. Anyways, let's get to the fights this weekend first. Let's sort of get that out of the way because mainly, there aren't really that many great fights this weekend. A lot of A sides versus B sides we don't care about, so we can kind of run through that and get to the news of the day, which I think we're going to probably debate more on. Obviously, people want to call in and debate. Call-in number is 1-323-870-4051. If you want to call in international, email me, mixedcombatradio@gmail.com to get a permanent free international call-in link. We are working on a Skype line in the near future because I know a lot of people want to use Skype. But this call link is basically the same thing. It's absolutely free. It's easy to use. You can use it on your mobile, your tablet, your whatever, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection or internet connection. But anyways, let's get to, like I said, the fights of this weekend. Let's start, obviously, with the Lomachenko fight versus Pedraza, one that I think is relatively easy to call, even though Pedraza looked pretty good in his last fight against Ray Beltran, a fight that I think a lot of us picked against Pedraza. I think Pedraza showed, better boxing skill, good work off the jab, good combination work, and of course, just his footwork was probably fantastic in that fight. But Lomachenko is one of those guys where if you look at him compared to Pedraza, he beats him in every single category. I don't know how this is going to be a really competitive fight other than Pedraza's a really tough guy. He can take a lot of punishment. He took a lot of punishment in the Gervonta Davis fight before he got knocked out. This one could probably go all 12. It might end earlier than that, probably around maybe 9, 10, 11. But safer bet's probably the full 12. Unanimous decision, wide, 10-2 for Lomachenko. I just see him being better in pretty much every single category than Pedraza in this matchup. What's your thoughts on it, Roberta?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, obviously Loma's going to be a massive favourite going into this, and like you said, I can't see Pedraza posting too many problems for Lomachenko. We've got these amazing Ukrainians that have stormed the scene. Mm-hmm. Usyk included, seeing as he got past Ballier, he now gets his outstanding badge.
Vajic, obviously, with the huge win over Adonis Stevenson. And quick sort of news on Adonis Stevenson. He is still in medically induced coma. He's had surgeries done to his brain. He's had a traumatic brain injury. The doctors are saying that he probably will have irreversible effects because of it. So just prayers and condolences to his family and everything. Just a really tough situation, even though obviously it was a ascendance to another guy. It's one of those unfortunate stories in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, whatever people want to think of Adonis, before this fight, obviously we can just, try and get over that. And obviously, you don't want to wish anything like this on anybody. So, yeah, fingers crossed he can come out of this with, a little bit better than it seems right now. So, yeah, but back to obviously Lomachenko. We all know he's, the real deal and super skilled, super slick. I'd probably even go for a stoppage in this. I know you said a decision's probably favourite, but I just think he's, onwards and upwards. I think he's just the guy to beat. If anyone out there could do it, obviously there's maybe down the line we're going to maybe see the Mikey fight, but until then I just can't see anyone else in the division that's anywhere near got the potential to cause him any troubles at all.
I mean, there's some guys I can see him maybe giving him like tough fights, like a Akome, a Denis Shafikov. There's certain people that I could see giving him tough fights, but there's no one that is seemingly a favorite over Lomachenko at 135.
Yeah, that's maybe what I meant rather than...
Yeah, that just does not exist, unless it's Mikey. And then if somebody's picking Mikey over Lomachenko, I have no issue with that. I think that's a 50-50 fight. If somebody's thinking that Mikey's the favorite, not really going to argue that one. But Mikey's going to 147, doing other stuff and getting bodied by Earl Spence, so we don't need to really talk about that. But we're basically all in agreement on Lomachenko-Pedraza. It's seemingly a very easy fight to call, I think, in everyone's opinion. Let's move on to Isaac Dogboe versus Emmanuel Navarrete. I think Dogboe probably is going to defeat Emmanuel here early, within 6 rounds. Emmanuel's never fought outside of Mexico. That's always a big concern for me, just being from the Southern California scene and knowing the stigma attached to people only fighting in Mexico. Once in a while, we get a Jaime Munguia that comes out of nowhere, only fought in Mexico, and he's the real deal. But sometimes we get Carlos Ocampo, who's only fought in Mexico and isn't the real deal. And Dogboe, whatever you want to say about that guy, is the fucking real deal. His win over Jesse Magdaleno proved that. I think Dogboe should come in here, be in his face, be aggressive, and really just be the better, more powerful puncher in there and knock him out relatively early. Thoughts?
Yeah, again, fully agree. I can see him getting this guy out of here pretty quick. He's actually a minus 1,200 going into this, so he's a massive favourite. I really like him. I recommend anyone, if they check out the BBC Sport, Steve Bunce and Mike Costello, the boxing podcast they had a whole podcast interviewing Dogboe, and it's really real interesting story behind the kid. And I just can't see him losing this one. And I think there's potentially talk of a fight back in sorry, I forgot the country originates.
I think it's Ghana.
Ghana, yeah, that's right. I think Bob Arum has spoke about a potential fight next year in Ghana. So massive homecoming. He's actually like almost like a megastar over there, from what I can make out from the interview that I mentioned. So that'll be a big deal for him. So he's definitely burst on the scene with that Magdaleno win. And now it's like he seems almost like the guy of the division. So I'm really looking forward to watching that one.
I mean, obviously, your cousin has a great fighter in his stable, Mr. Daniel Roman. I mean, he's obviously a champion in that division as well. Ray Vargas is another guy with Golden Boy. There's a few guys in the division that obviously presents really interesting matchups with Dogboe, but Magdaleno beat Donaire. That was like a seemingly passing of the torch in the division, beating Magdaleno in really impressive fashion, come behind fashion, fight of the year fashion. I think that was a little bit of a passing of the torch moment, where we forget about a Daniel Roman, who still is a fantastic guy and obviously championship caliber, and a Ray Vargas, who might be really the best guy in the division. We just don't know, because Oscar De La Hoya is not really the greatest promoter when it's not Canelo Alvarez on the bill, let's be completely honest.
Exactly, yeah.
But moving on, quick sort of shout out to Teofimo Lopez versus Mason Menard. Mason Menard, obviously, common opponents against Ray Beltran, who we talked about, obviously, with Jose Pedraza, and Devin Haney. It's going to be a good barometer fight for Teofimo Lopez, so can't wait to see that one.
Just see which Fortnite dance he chooses for the victory.
Yeah,
but,
I agree.
Definitely like Teofimo Lopez. He's got a lot of character, got a lot of. He's a good talker. I think he's obviously a potential, star. I don't want to say definite world champion or anything like that. He's 10-0, so but he's definitely one to watch without a doubt.
Let's move over to the DAZN / Matchroom / Sky card. Kell Brook versus Michael Safara. Jonah Carroll on the card. Josh Kelly versus David Avanesian. I like that fight. Anthony Fowler versus Still TBA. That's really upsetting. Kid Galahad on the card. Just a bunch of people of note, really, on the card that really isn't getting any shine. Boxing Blunts, I see you saying that you emailed me for the call-in link. I'll be sending you that in a bit. But just know I see you. Don't worry. I'll let you take lead on this, Rob, with the whole Kell Brook. Obviously, him being your boy, Jonah Carroll being your boy. Obviously, Anthony Fowler being basically family with you. Let's be honest, right? Like you guys DM each other on the regular. So let me know sort of your mindset on this card.
Yeah, I mean, I like the card because I recognize a lot of the guys on there, and but as far as matchups, the Brook one is interesting because I'm pretty sure when Fowler got his last victory, Michael Zafira was mentioned as an opponent for Anthony Fowler next, before maybe heading into a Ted Cheeseman fight. Now all of a sudden he's fighting Kell Brook, and I kind of a little bit sort of, I don't know, like not let down by Brook's career, but obviously he had the great win over in America against Sean Porter. But you know, what's he really done since? You know, it's I know he's fought Gennady and Spence, you know, back-to-back real tough fights, but it's just sort of stuttered, and his career's kind of, I don't know, sort of faltered a little bit. But you know, I'm obviously looking forward to it. He's off the back of a little bit of a layoff since the Rabchenko knockout, which was an impressive knockout. But you know, it's in his hometown. But there's a lot of talk from the Zafira camp they're coming to upset the apple cart, but you quite often get this sort of chat from the opponent. But I expect Cal Brook to sort of come through this. And then do we get the Amir Khan fight? Obviously, we've got some news to talk about on that a little bit later. But you know, this whole fight is in danger of being just too late. You know, if it's not going to happen this time around, then you know that's it. The moment's gone, and no one's going to care. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But John O'Carroll against Frenoir, I think that's an eliminator that will end up facing Tevin Farmer. John O'Carroll, always like watching his fights. You know, very gritty, a lot of heart. He shows a lot of.
Was his last fight Tyrone McKenna? Was that his last fight?
His last fight was Declan Geraghty.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think John O'Carroll is an all action, all exciting fighter. Him versus Tevin Farmer, I would be excited for. Him versus anyone at 130, I would be relatively excited for. He deserves to sort of get that step up now, in my opinion. Speaking of Kell Brook and sort of this fight, I agree. It's one of those where it's a hometown fight. It's a fight he should get an easy sort of finish in, and one that was seemingly a setup for another fight. Obviously, we're going to get to the whole Amir Khan, Terence Crawford thing later on in the show. This could, like you said, definitely be one of those fights where it just gets totally forgotten. It's kind of a joke, even more so in hindsight, depending how that situation with Khan and obviously Brook eventually goes. Quickly, we want to talk about the Josh Kelly, David Avanesian fight. David Avanesian really, I think, only being known for losing to Lamont Peterson. But at least that is a barometer for a guy like Josh Kelly, who's 8-0. I like the matchup. David Avanesian's usually a very durable guy. He's not the most technical guy. He's not the most. He's not the guy that's really going to shock you in any way. But he's a tough, durable guy that's going to walk you down, and make you work. That's going to be good for Josh Kelly to have that experience and that look. And again, he's 8-0, so I'm okay with this matchup at this point.
I think this is an opportunity for a guy that's kind of been a name in the division. I think Mosley didn't fight after fighting. That was Mosley's last fight against Avanesian. But I think it's a guy that's going to look good on the resume for Kelly. Someone he's going to be able to style on and show us his slick skills. I just still have a question mark over Kelly's power. I hope that whether he's going to grow into the power a little bit, grow into it. He's obviously still quite a youngish fighter, so I'll be looking forward to just seeing what Kelly does there. But like I say, I've just got that question mark. Obviously he's got possibly elite level skills, but I don't know if that's enough sometimes. Obviously we've seen Fury this weekend show that skills do pay the bills in some respect. And I think maybe he had enough pop just to have Wilder's sort of respect. But I want to know that Josh Kelly can, real put a beating down on it. It's all right having all these slick skills, but if a guy can sort of take your punch and walk through it, you're going to have to really show some skills then. So obviously Josh Kelly, exciting fighter to watch, but just for me, just a little question mark over the power, but hopefully he proves me wrong. Then again, Anthony Fowler with a TBA, he's getting super frustrated. He knows there's like a potential big fight for him coming up around the corner, but he was stated last time in his post-fight interview that he's sick of fighting these like Eastern European guys that sort of come in for the money and just sort of run and cover up, and he said that they're making me look bad. You'll see the best of Anthony Fowler when someone comes to fight me. So yeah, I'm expecting another stoppage from Fowler. I expect to see a lot of body work early on, and then I expect him to then sort of switch it up to the head. I think he had a great knockout on, I think it was the Dillian White card, where about 5 rounds he basically pounded the guy's body and then came out for round 6, fainted with the left hand, I think, and threw the right. Good night. The guy was asleep on the bottom rope. So I think he's working really well now with David Caldwell. I think he's really brushing off, some of the rawness of Fowler. He's still not, I wouldn't say maybe the greatest on his feet. Maybe just, a lot of work to do still, maybe.
I think he's a guy that needs to start coming over to the U.S. with Matchroom USA cards, just because there seems to be a lot of good talent at that division in the U.S. compared to the U.K., I would say. While the U.K. is a little bit stronger at 147, 160, 168, there's other divisions that they're a little bit more stronger and a little more depth in that he could sort of go through the ranks. I think he would benefit from actually coming over to the U.S. and having a few fights with Matchroom USA. Obviously, still in that Eddie Hearn conglomerate, so I think he can still benefit from that, still be shown on Sky. That's something they should look at, or at least try to get some U.S. guys over to him. Because, like he has said, like you just said and reiterated, he's fought a lot of no-names that really aren't doing anything for him in any sort of way when compared to, let's say, a Josh Kelly, even though he's fought, good solid matchmaking opponents where we know he's going to win. There's still a Carlos Molina in there. There's still David Avanesian in there. There's still guys we sort of know and recognize because that division's just a little bit stronger where they can grab from. That would be my only thought process about Anthony Fowler because we don't know he's fighting yet still.
Yeah, like I say, I think around the corner of 2019, we expect to see a Ted Cheeseman fight, which would be a real good domestic fight for obviously UK fans and obviously on DAZN. If it's going to be on DAZN, I would urge American fight fans to tune into it because Cheeseman, very sort of skilled fighter. Anthony Fowler, very sort of come forward, almost, not again on the level, but like a Triple G, really wants to stalk down and, let his hands go. But at the moment, he's just had guys that have constantly been trying to run away from him. And it's maybe not convinced sometimes, the commentators of his actual abilities because they've sort of questioned, he's maybe not got the greatest footwork. He's maybe not cutting the ring off as well as he could do and things like that. And it's just been hard for him. And I think he's just been super frustrated with quite a glittering amateur career behind him and now kicking on in the pros. But expect bigger things for Anthony Fowler in 2019. We've also got Kid Galahad making another appearance. It's difficult with Kid Galahad because some have said he's not the greatest fighter to watch, but when you watch him, he's very sort of skilled and technical. And if you really are sort of someone that loves to watch that technical side of the sport, Kid Galahad is sort of pretty sort of one for those kind of people to watch. So other than that, not great names for people to tune into. Obviously, some 8-0, 4-0, 3-0, 8-0. But it's a decent card. It's boxing on a Saturday night on Sky, so I'll be tuned in.
Yep, agreed. The only thing about Kid Galahad I have an issue with is that he is definitely mismanaged in some way because he should be fighting better opposition at this point, in my opinion. Because a 10-4 guy whose last 4 fights are all losses, it's just hard to get up for those. Even though the card is littered with names that we care about, there are names we care about fighting names we don't care about. And that's always an issue in some shape or form, long term. Of course, this is one of those small cards that's a setup card for other bigger cards. So I, fundamentally don't have that much of an issue with it. Moving on to the HBO card, which even though, shout out to HBO, went from only this year in May having the first female fight on HBO history, now having 2 female fights on the card, even though they're fights that I'm not really interested in. Clarissa Shields versus Famike Hermans, Cecilia Baracus versus Alexandria Lopez, and Juan Francisco Estrada versus Victor Mendez. Of course, the Roman Gonzalez fight versus Pedro Guevara was canceled due to Roman Gonzalez getting hurt. I mean, we can sort of be quick with this. All the A sides are going to win. Hopefully, it's in exciting fashion, and this is a sad end to HBO.
Yeah, it's just been pretty depressing. It's just petered out. It's I don't necessarily get to watch, obviously live some of the HBO cards, but in the past, obviously, I've always looked for a link the next day to catch the fights, and HBO have been a huge part, but the slow, drawn out decline has just been almost, painful. But yeah, it's good to see Claressa Shields back out again, nice and quick since the fight on the Kansas card.
And also, very quickly, just after Claressa Shields, just a figurehead of how all these networks can either work together or allow fighters to move to different networks. Went from Showtime to DAZN to HBO all in 1 year. I wish more fighters can do that.
Yeah, and I don't want to go down the route, but I don't know if just at this moment in time whether that she's a woman boxer, that although obviously she's got great support, but I just don't know that sometimes I feel. Obviously, we got Katie Taylor over here and unified champ, and obviously Claressa's a unified champ, but I just feel maybe stateside there isn't quite that love for women's boxing as maybe it is quite here. I'm not saying, we're super women's boxing fans over here. I personally am. I like it. I love watching Claressa Shields. I love watching Katie Taylor and all those. But whether that's a reason that they're happy for her to go elsewhere, I don't know. But I believe she done decent numbers on. I think it was the last time she was on Showtime.
Yeah, she did decent numbers.
Better than Joshua Parker, even, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I can see the logic behind what you're saying. I definitely think that's
very careful when I was saying it.
Yeah, I think the trend is changing though. I think that's very obvious. Like only a few years ago, like this just doesn't exist. Like only last year, women's fights never existed on HBO. Now we have 2 on 1 card. Like, yeah, it may be a sign that the other networks that are attached to these fighters are more willing to let them go because they are female fighters. I understand that logic.
I just think you're not going to get the unified middleweight male champion being allowed to go over to DAZN, to be able to go over to HBO, to be able to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you think that. I'm not really going to disagree with it because I can definitely see why if you're Showtime, you're like, okay, Claressa Shields is not worth as much as a Danny Garcia, as Adrian Broner, as all these other people. Like I fundamentally understand that point. Don't get me wrong. But speaking more from the fan perspective, not from the network perspective, because I understand how business. I think regardless of women, male, if you're drawing more numbers, they're going to care about you regardless. That's why Adrian Broner has always been a priority for Showtime, regardless of if he has a belt or if he's winning fights. But I would say from the fan perspective, that trend and that feeling towards women's boxing definitely has been changing in the last few years, thanks to Katie Taylor, Claressa Shields, Michaela Mayer, some very key women that have done well and have been pushed by networks like ESPN, like Showtime, like Sky Sports. So that to me is a good trend and a positive trend that we should probably focus more on as a whole, not just me and you. I'm not talking about me and you, just more generally speaking. But yeah, I really have nothing else to say on this card. Shout out to Francisco Estrada fighting on it in place of Roman Gonzalez. That's about all I have to say about it.
Yeah. In the great words, it is what it is. But
that is true.
It's just sad that this is going to be the end. It's just petered out really painfully. And
and quickly, just to add to that, Santiago asked in the chat, Matt, Rob, your thoughts on the return of Larry Merchant on their farewell broadcast and it being on Boxing After Dark, so not World Championship Boxing, meaning production quality is very low, which means they're putting very little into it, so to speak. I think it's nice. It's a good gesture to have Larry Merchant back. I've never been one to ride for Larry in any way. He's all right. He's funny at times. Has had great moments. Definitely Hall of Famer, just in terms of longevity. I think it's just a good sign. It's just a good farewell gesture in a sense to the hardcore fans of HBO boxing. Nothing more than that.
It's just a nice look at the end, you know, a little bit of sentiment, like, oh, do you remember the good old days, kind of.
Now, I'll put it this way. If he goes on and he's like, you know, God forbid, like not 100% there in any way, and he's a little bit old and rambling, that's gonna be it's not gonna be good on Twitter. Boxing Twitter's gonna just attack it. I guarantee you.
If I don't know if he wants to bring out the old ones and sort of say to Clarissa Shields, if I was 40 years younger, I'd kick your ass or something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, bless him. He's been a big part of the sport. There's obviously some famous moments, including obviously like the one I just referenced with him and Mayweather. You know, you don't know shit about boxing, and then obviously Merchant gave it back. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that. Like you say, boxing Twitter might be pretty brutal after dark.
I definitely agree with that. We can move on to the news of the day. And once we get to this news of the day, Boxing Blunts, Rob Gotti, I see you guys' emails. I'll send you the link, and you guys can get on that and call in once we get through some of these major news announcements of the day. But first, let's talk about these pay-per-view numbers, because I feel like that's obviously the preeminent news of the day that's taken over boxing social media. Mike Coppinger with the breaking news again, saying sources, it's early, but Wilder Fury is tracking at over 300,000 pay-per-view buys. The break-even point was 250,000, I'm told, so a big win for Showtime PBC. He follows that up with another tweet saying it's looking like the number will come in a bit north of 320,000, so 320,000 pay-per-view buys, not including digital, not including UK pay-per-view. Gary saying, is Blog Talk working? I believe it's working. Call in, definitely, of course, that number as well, 323-870-4051. Gary, I see you there, so I do see you. Gary, don't worry. I'll get to you after we get through these news, or at least the big couple news topics of the day. Rob, I put over to you first. Initial reaction when you saw these numbers.
Yeah, I thought they were sort of decent. I maybe expected more, considering the names and the push that it had.
It seemed like it was trending to do more. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and obviously, like you say, but whenever we hear a number from the States, that's the number we're going to be going by. We'll obviously maybe find out what BT did and things like that. So I guess we take the US number as we normally do with these things. I know that not always both sides of the pond sort of joint effort, but we'll obviously take the American one into account on this one. But yeah, whether it comes in at around 400 in the end, because they've got to count other things. But yeah, I was sort of like, yeah, that's okay. But it's just, I don't know. I just felt it was going to be bigger than this. But I think I said sort of maybe the 500. I can't quite remember my pick, but obviously it's decent. They're happy with it. If it's gone past what they expect to break even, then it's all been a success. I think Stephen Espinoza originally said if it does 400,000, we'll be happy. So whether at that point, whether this break even number has kind of been dialed down after he said 400,000, I don't know. But I don't get down the conspiracy theory route. But yeah, I think it's been a success from things I'm reading. It's just maybe I felt, obviously I know Fury and how well I thought he sold everything, with the media tour. I just thought it might have generated a little bit more. But because I said in my call yesterday that I felt the fight week really put some fire under this, and I really thought like, oh wow, this does seem bigger than it was looking originally. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on the actual final number. But yeah, I think everyone involved's pretty pleased. So well done to them. Seeing videos of like the actual fight, people in the crowd, it seemed great atmosphere, and obviously waving my own flag. But when you get a lot of Brits abroad and probably a lot of drink flowing, there was definitely a good atmosphere as far as the UK fans being in the arena. I don't think many fight fans in the States have heard the chants of "You Big Dosser" as a fight's happening, but it was it looked like a big event, and they're happy with the numbers. I just maybe thought, obviously we see the Joshuas with the around the 1 million mark, and we know other pay-per-views that have done it, but I guess Wilder's first time out as the main, whether the A side. I know people questioned who exactly was the A side in this a little bit, but yeah, first time out. Everyone must be pretty pleased with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that and emphasize that this is a good number. Like, this is a very good, not very good. This is a good number. They should be happy with this. I've compared it in the past, like Mayweather versus Gotti, Mayweather's first pay-per-view entry. That did only 350,000 pay-per-view buys in an era where pay-per-views were much more acceptable. Nowadays, it's much harder to break that million, even though we are in the same era that certain fights have done historically the best numbers. Like, it's a weird time when Mayweather is also doing the best pay-per-view buy rates in history, yet the total average has dropped and plummeted over the last few years all across the board for combat sports in the U.S. for buy rates. I compared it again to a UFC fight. I know you don't really care about that, Rob. But Daniel Cormier fought Stipe Miocic. It was a champion versus champion fight. One champion moving up a weight, fighting another one. That's a big super fight in the UFC. That only did about 400,000. So that was promoted and pushed like one of the biggest UFC pay-per-views of the year, and it only did 400,000. Similar to this. This obviously was pushed and promoted like the biggest pay-per-view of Showtime's calendar, which it obviously was. And it did 320,000, just north of that, which is still a good number. When you add in the revenue they're going to get from BT pay-per-view, from digital pay-per-views, which are separate from that, on top of that, whatever revenue they get from movie theaters, which obviously isn't a huge number, but they could probably get a few seven figures in that revenue as well, let alone international distribution in other countries. This seems like a success. Was it a major success? No, it was not that. But it was a success. And I want that to be emphasized because a lot of people are saying that this is a failure. And that just is not true in any way, shape, or form.
So you're gonna have to work some maths with me, Matt. How
quick maths?
If say this ends up being around 400,000, that's 30 million dollars generated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So break down maybe what we think Showtime take from this amount, and then other things. Just what is left in the pot, and what do we see the split from the pay-per-view that Wilder will get and Fury will get?
Obviously, each pay-per-view is different. I want to have that sort of clarifier there that this is just, I'm speaking in generalities from what I know of the industry and how it works. Showtime, I'm using Showtime in air quotes, it's not really Showtime. It's more Wilder and Fury in boxing sense. They're going to collect anywhere from 50% to 70% of pay-per-view revenue from their distributors. So we're going to talk about the linear TV number, that 320,000, not including digital. That's purely what we're talking about because digital, they take 100% of the revenue from that per buy. So knock that 30 million down to 18, 20 million. Let's just round off to 20 just to make it very fucking simple for us, right? 20 million. 10 million goes to distributors, which would be the TV companies. That would be DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, the linear TV. If you buy the pay-per-view on a cable box, that is the number we're talking about here. From that 20 million, fighters in boxing, especially at the main events, usually collect a lion's share of it. In the UFC, it's different. The UFC collects a lion's share and then slowly distribute it down to fighters depending on which fighters the contract. But for boxing, the fighters collect a lion's share. So most likely what happens would be is that Wilder and Fury collect probably 50%. They probably split around 50%, depending on what their split is, whether it's 60-40, 55-45, 50-50. They split that 20 million. And they pay out Showtime. They pay out their promoter. They pay out the trainers through Wilder, through Fury. That's usually how it works. So let's say, again, Wilder collects another 10 million on top. Fury collects another 10 million on top, just to keep it very round. Showtime and BT are probably collecting a respective 1 to 2 million each in pure profit. because again, this is all past break even. That's usually what you're looking at.
All right, no, it's just I was trying to break it down, and because I didn't know who would take what chunk of what, I just thought, is he going to make the 15 million slave contract offer from AJ? After all this promo, he got 4 million guarantee. And I did think, is he going to get maybe 8 to 10 million from the pay-per-view?
Probably close to that. So he's getting around that 15 million.
12, 13. I know there's obviously other income going to come from this, but it just seemed a long way round of,
But for a much easier fight.
Ticking past this slave contract from AJ, which was going to be for the undisputed heavyweight title, But
it's for an easier fight. What we thought was an easier fight, right? I mean, obviously, hindsight is this is Fury's back with that top 2, and it's now top 3, right? But beforehand, all of us, except for the diehard Fury fans and the UK fanboys, were saying, nah, Fury's not ready for this fight. He just isn't. Yeah. So he would be, in theory, before this fight, making around 13, 15 million for a fight that's significantly easier and collect the lineal title in a way. That's the thought process. Obviously, did not turn out that way. Obviously, Fury showed up in a much different form. So I think that point's a little bit it's not really substantive. Like there's no worth in debating that.
Like I wasn't trying to come at it with a fanboy status.
You're just trolling.
No, not even that really. I just started to think, what's he really getting from them? But then, like you say, it was potentially, obviously, as it turns out,
and again,
it was in their minds as an easier way to get that same amount of money. But
that is only the linear TV. We're not talking about digital yet.
Yeah.
We're not talking about UK pay-per-view. We're not talking about German TV license fee. Like we're not talking about all that adds up. It does. That's how you get.
I'm sure. Yeah.
That's how you get Mayweather making $600 million for Pacquiao's, because the syndication of that is worth just as much as the live feed, just as left of all of this. And if you collect a piece of everything, you're making a lot of money down the line. That's how probably Showtime collects more revenue than off of the pay-per-view. It's through syndication. They have the rights to the library of it. They have the rights to show it. So from my understanding, when, let's say, Showtime works with some German TV company to license it out, Showtime's making more of that money.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
and I think they're doing a repeat, aren't they? I don't know how that works. If that's
they usually do that. Like I know HBO does that religiously. Like the week after or 2 weeks after, they show it on regular their TV channel.
But what was my other point I was going to make on this? It's slipped my mind. But keep talking; it'll come to me.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Calm down, Frankie. Calm down, Frank.
Tell him, Frank.
Well, do you have any last points on this pay-per-view? Because, again, I think we pretty much agree. It's a good pay-per-view buy rate. Not a major one, but it's a good one.
Yeah. I'm not blown away by it, and I'm not like, haha, it was shit. It's like, it's good. It's good. This is just, it's done all right.
Yes. If this did 150, 160, the narrative would be very, very different. But moving on from that, let's move to the Gennady Golovkin network sweepstakes that it is. God. First, obviously, it came out via Mike Coppinger that Gennady Golovkin met with Al Heyman. That got later reported that it wasn't Al Heyman. It was just a PBC rep. Just want to get all the information out there. And then on top of that, Keith had the deck. No, not Keith had the deck. It was Dan Rayfield saying Golovkin met with DAZN, Matchroom Boxing, reportedly getting a massive offer from them. ESPN also bidding for Triple G's services. It seems we're really close to some sort of finality with this news. Where do you think he lands?
Well, very quick. He apparently, sources have also said that he will make his decision before Christmas. So yeah,
really,
we're close to finding this out now. So so yeah, obviously, apparently DAZN have made the biggest offer, but also Triple G has stated that he's not necessarily interested in Canelo. He feels he doesn't get a fair shake. from the judges or, from fighting Canelo. But the most money on the table as it stands, as far as as being reported, is from DAZN. Now, obviously, we know basically the middleweight division is at DAZN right now. I think nothing's come out officially, but I don't know if we can assume that Danny Jacobs will stay with Eddie on DAZN.
Yeah, I just want to. I want to touch on that very quickly because I saw someone report that Daniel Jacobs actually is now a promotional free agent as well. Like he's no longer signed with Eddie. Did you see that as well, or am I hashtag Matt Stats?
It was kind of. I think that was Coppinger replying to someone, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Said, although it's probably a safe assumption that Jacobs will remain, but he is technically at the moment like you say, promotional free agent. So, and we believe he's still under Al Heyman, so he's obviously could go back to Showtime and Fox. But I don't know. I think that would be, I don't know. Eddie Hearn obviously got him to the point of a world title fight, or promoted it, and the HBO deal. So I don't know, but like I was trying to say is, with Andrade, Canelo, potentially Jacobs, that's where, if the bouts are there, you think the money would be there for those fights. So I don't know. I would assume he's going to pick DAZN, but I guess there's some big fights over at PBC side as well. But does he want the Charlo fight? Does he? I guess we have to get that early Christmas present to find out. But it was interesting that it was like when the PBC news came out, I was like, well, wasn't expecting that. We were hearing it's just ESPN and coming in, and then this big PBC going in for Triple G, which I did notice a lot of previously people going, DAZN trying to get Triple G and ESPN, la la la, and then suddenly Triple G's a great fighter because Al Heyman's interested. So it was quite funny to me, but yeah, we're gonna have to see how this plays out. It's quite interesting.
You pay attention way too much to the fanboys, Rob. I hope you know that.
Get a feel for how people are feeling.
Yeah, those the people that say that are just stupid. Like Triple G was part of 2 million plus PPV buy rates in a row. Triple G is one of the most valuable commodities right now in the sport. If you don't know that, you don't watch the sport enough, or you're just, like I've said, a fanboy who Rob listens to way too much.
No. I just people will from what you just said say, yeah, but he was fighting Canelo, but then Canelo was fighting Liam Smith.
Yes, so, but again, look at, let's say, this is a really bad example because this person's not anywhere near as good as Triple G, but Robert Guerrero. Let me throw that name out there. Flash in the Hey.
Oh, God.
Okay, but look how he was used post Mayweather, right? He was used for all the guys coming up at 147 and at 140. The Danny Garcias, the Keith Thurmans, the Sean Porters. He was used by everyone. I think PBC and even Eddie and DAZN or whoever, they're looking at Triple G in that fashion. It's a guy that's a little bit older in the tooth, who just got a big loss. Obviously, he's at probably the highest point of his worth right now as a fighter and what he can ask for. Let's get him and let's use him to build up. And if you're PBC, everyone from Jamal Charlo all the way to Jared Hurd, Jamel Charlo, Ezelani Laura, and everyone else. If you're DAZN, obviously it's the plethora of middleweight champions you have, from Canelo to Demetrius Andrade to maybe Daniel Jacobs, though he is obviously a sort of outlier right here in my opinion. But I think that Triple G is probably, like you said, probably going to go to DAZN, especially if Daniel Jacobs goes back to Eddie and DAZN. I think that's like guaranteed, basically. If Daniel Jacobs decides to sort of go back to Fox, Showtime, and that conglomerate, maybe the question changes. Maybe the debate starts becoming a little more interesting, because I know PBC did offer him a big deal that was bigger than any deal previously, and then DAZN upped it seemingly and presented a bigger one. Whatever it is, Triple G is going to get paid. Salute to him. He deserves it.
It would just make me question Triple G if the biggest money is over on DAZN and all the bouts are over on DAZN, and then he joins PBC. I would just sort of, I don't know, maybe question him as, of his hunger and sort of ambition left in, obviously, is the last sort of, closing chapters of his career. But you'd think he'd maybe want to go for that title again. And I don't know if he'd necessarily follow over to PBC if Jacobs was there, because the IBF is Jacobs, right? And that's the one he just relinquished. And I think the IBF said something along the lines of, I don't know, that he's done this to the IBF and he just vacated it, and it was, they weren't happy with Triple G, obviously.
I'll say this. Maybe guaranteed money, DAZN has the bigger offer, right? But PBC may offer pay-per-view upside with the Jamal Charlo, with other guys. And maybe, again, just making, just playing devil's advocate here, because I agree with you on merit that, yeah, if Triple G doesn't want to go fight all the champions, especially if Jacobs is over there at DAZN, that doesn't really make a lot of sense for your career unless you're trying to fight in other divisions, right? Like, that would be the only thought process. Or pay-per-view money. So they try to put, hey, don't laugh. If all these pay-per-views do well, man, PBC is going to be in the pay-per-view business for real. If Broner and Pacquiao does well, and especially if Spence and Garcia does well, come on. Jamal Charlo versus Triple G will guaranteed be a pay-per-view on Fox or Showtime. And maybe Triple G and Tom are looking at that and saying, pay-per-view upside. Like, we could get that. I don't know. That's my only thought process behind why you would take the low-end money, because maybe the upside's there.
Matt Hunter making the Americans dig in their pockets again.
Hey, I'm not saying it's what I want, but I'm saying it's a reality that we have to at least address.
Yeah. Very quick, I remembered my point. I just want to dial back quickly. Do you think, as it was Wilder's first pay-per-view, they would have been better off maybe doing this at like $50?
I've always thought they should.
Would there have been a much more I don't know, need for people to want to buy it? Because I'm assuming a lot of people stream this illegally anyway.
I made the point on TBV like last Saturday or whatever, right? We were watching it via legal stream for most of the undercard because the pay-per-view wasn't working. The Showtime Anytime crashed. And it was in HD. Like, the stream was in HD quality. It was nice. No buffering at all. Like, in today's age, of course, you can get by it. But people that want to see an event will pay for it. Like, we know that. But I agree with you that they should experiment with the pricing. Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson, the golf tournament, whatever, bullshit, right? That they had to refund all the pay-per-view buy rates because pay-per-view crashed as well. But they sold 1 million pay-per-view buys. I think the pay-per-view was like $10. Like, it was super cheap. Obviously, that's not a ton of money compared to, $75 a pop. But yeah, experiment with the pricing a little bit. There's no need to stay to this number unless they're happy with the 320. Like, they're making money. They're making millions off of that, and there's really no need to it. Because that's what's going to cause there to be a shift in the pay-per-view industry and how it conducts itself, is if there's consumer backlash. And right now, it seems like the consumer backlash isn't there like it was a few years ago. And that's an issue. Yeah, that's my last point on it. Rob, any last points on Triple G, DAZN, pay-per-view, all the fun shit?
All the fun shit. No. We can take it to the next topic.
All right, last topic of the day, then we're going to go to callers. Terence Crawford versus Middy's boy, Amir Khan. Let's just get the sad music for Amir Khan here, man. Seriously. R.I.P. R.I.P. This poor guy, man. Keith Idek saying multiple sources have confirmed to me that Top Rank has offered Amir Khan a $5 million guarantee to fight Terence Crawford on March 23rd at Madison Square Garden. Daily Mail first reported today that they were in talks. Luis Collazo already has agreed to fight Crawford that night. Just to add to this information, this is a potential pay-per-view. I shouldn't say potential. This would be pay-per-view. The Collazo fight would not. I just want to make that very clear for anyone that is thinking as a consumer on how to judge these matchups. I'm kind of blown away by this for a lot of reasons. One, $5 million guarantee plus pay-per-view for Amir Khan when they offered Danny $3 million and plus pay-per-view. That just fundamentally makes no sense to me. Either they just really lowball Danny as a FU, which I can kind of see, or they just think Amir Khan's worth that much more, which I don't see. So I don't know what the thought process here for Team Crawford, Bob Arum, ESPN. I like the Luis Collazo fight. I'll be honest. Put that shit on ESPN. Put it on MSG. I'm good with that. I am 100% Gucci with that fight and that matchup. Amir Khan, I'm sorry, Amiri. You do not belong at the top right now when you just struggled against Samuel fucking Vargas. Okay? I don't want this fight. Especially pay-per-view. This is worse than Spence Garcia. And y'all know how much I fucking hate that fight, and I hate it being on pay-per-view. This is worse.
Emotional. Why you emotional? Why you emotional?
Yeah, you might get Midi, who I didn't think was going to make it, but
Midi, I want the smoke.
I want smoke.
The bat signal might have gone up, and he's like, "What?" And he's going to call in straight away. But I believe Bob Arum has said we haven't heard back from Khan's people on this.
Good.
Good. And we've seen Khan saying that Brooks conning the public, and now we've seen Brooks saying he's a joke. He's still running from this fight. I know there's maybe a bit of a hang-up about the Khan wanting the rehydration clause thrown in there, and Brooks saying why this isn't for the IBF or anything like that. This isn't about we can do this. Let's get it on. And I don't know, but this really came out of left field. And I don't even know, obviously Eddie's going to have something to say about this. I know he maybe want his fighter to go and make a ton of money, but he would like, obviously, Amir Khan. I think it would be the last fight on his current deal with Matchroom, and obviously on Sky Sports and DAZN. So I'm not sure we're going to see the Crawford fight. I'm not sure. And I part of me still thinks we're going to get the Brook fight, but that really came out of left field, this Crawford thing. I was like, what? I don't know. But yeah, interesting. And like you say, the money, wow, maybe that is enough. And Khan can say, look, I want to go and make that money. I don't know whether Eddie would stop him or try to stop. I don't know.
Hopefully Khan realizes that, like, one really more vicious knockout at the top level, he's done. Like, he can't take that. Maybe the Crawford money is enough, $5 million. I mean, I don't know if Eddie's offering him that guaranteed plus pay-per-view with Kell Brook. I just don't see it.
I mean, if we are throwing shade out to Midi right now, I can see him getting viciously knocked out by Kell Brook as well. So.
No, he does. No, he 110% gets knocked out viciously by fucking Kell Brook. Amir Khan almost got viciously knocked out by fucking Samuel Vargas. We can never forget this, people. Okay? I'm sorry. No. Okay, Amir Khan, please retire. For your own health and for my own viewing pleasure, please do not hang up please hang up the gloves. Don't put them on anymore. Don't lace them up anymore. We're good. We've had the Amir Khan heyday. Yes, okay. I'm sorry.
I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, people like that get slapped.
Amir Khan, you're gonna get slapped, okay? Crawford is gonna whoop your ass. Please, just go away.
I mean, you never know, Matt.
Listen, you can't knock out what you can't hit bum.
Maybe Khan's fast. Remember,
Samuel Vargas hit him. What do you mean?
Midi, I'm trying.
Do I have to keep repeating this, people? Samuel Vargas. Samuel fucking Vargas hit him and hurt him. Nah, Crawford's gonna kill this guy in 6 rounds.
Midi.
You can't handle the truth.
I'm sorry.
But anyways,
Yes.
I would really like the Collazo fight. I'll be honest. Collazo's looked better in his last 2 fights, even though he's had some time off. Give it to Collazo. He's deserved it. He's asked for it. PBC obviously does not want to give him a big fight, and they're stable. That's why they're sending him off to get put out by Odiella, by Crawford. So just do that. Just go ice Collazo in front of his hometown fans in New York, and we're good. Set up the Danny Garcia fight for pay-per-view. I'm happy. Khan, just do nothing, please.
Apparently, just a bit of extra information. Collazo has signed his part of the contract, but Crawford hasn't yet, because obviously they were maybe trying to work on either the Danny offer or this Amir Khan one. But Collazo is down for this. He's signed apparently.
Yes, I saw that as well.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's really all I have to say about this. I hope this fight doesn't happen. I hope he fights Collazo on ESPN and not ESPN pay-per-view, because ESPN pay-per-view sucks. But anyways, we're going to go to callers now. We're going to Gary in Dallas, then over to Rob. I see you, Rob Gotti. We're going to go to Gary first because he's been online for some time. Gary in Dallas, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Matty. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
And who's this British chap we have over here?
It's
Who's
Mr.
this guy? Do I know him?
It's Mr. Robbie Hearns from TBV, or formerly from
still there?
TBV.
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Oh, okay. What's up, Rob?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. First off, Robbie gets a little sensitive when you knock your K fighter, so I think we should be fair to Amir Khan. Amir Khan, and I'm fine with the Collazo fight too. I'm fine with either one of those fights. I'd rather not K for Crawford and Khan, so I'd rather Crawford versus Collazo because neither of them are real competitive. But Khan's a good fighter, man. I don't know where Khan beat Collazo easily. I don't know where all this is coming from.
But
right, look,
Gary,
Khan's
that fight
not
was
gonna
5
be
years
blood.
ago.
I agree.
That fight was 5 years ago.
I understand.
Like, he
But
beat
let's not
Maidana.
look, I
Like Amir Khan
Collazo.
beat Maidana. Like, that doesn't mean anything in 2018, 2019. Times have changed.
I understand. But who has, and I like Collazo, right? But Collazo has lost to every A-level fighter he's fought, except for Ricky. Well, he lost to Ricky Hatton, but we all know he beat Ricky Hatton. But that was like 10 years ago. So, and I'm fine with the Collazo fight, but why is Collazo more deserving of that fight than Khan? Because you're fine with Collazo, but anti-Khan.
Yes, because Collazo's last 2 opponents are far better than Amir Khan's. Right?
He's fought Bryant Perella
And Sammy Vasquez.
maybe. Who?
Like, that's
Sammy
better than
Vasquez
Phil
and Sammy
LaGreco.
Vargas.
That's better than Phil LaGreco and Samuel Vargas.
Phil-
It is. Come on.
Are they really better than Samuel
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yes.
maybe.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I'm fine with either one, but obviously Khan's a bigger draw.
Of
than
course.
is Collazo.
Of course.
So
That's of course. That's guaranteed.
I'm just look. Who's ever outboxed Amir Khan over 12 rounds? I'll wait.
It doesn't matter when he didn't get knocked the fuck out by Terence
He's
Crawford.
going to get knocked out, right? But what I'm saying is, not Canelo, not Danny Garcia, none of those guys have ever outboxed him for 12 rounds. So you can't say like he's no good until he's proven to be no good. He's got no chin, and he's going to get knocked out by Bunch. That being said, he can box. He's a highly skilled fighter. He still has hand speed. He can still do things. It's not like he's totally washed. He still has a skill set. Yeah, he did look.
Gary, you need to go back and watch that Samuel Vargas fight and tell me that man is
he
not
looked trash in
washed.
that fight. Okay. He looked trash in that fight. I agree. He still won almost every round and knocked Vargas down multiple times. He did.
He did, man. He did.
Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna argue it, Gary. I'm not gonna argue the merits of the Samuel Vargas win for Amir Khan. I'm just not in the mood.
But Luis Collazo beating Brian Perella I have no problem with Brian Perella, but that gets him a fight against the pound-for-pound king of the sport.
None of these
you know what I'm
guys.
saying?
No. You do understand, Gary, that when I say Collazo is more deserving of a shot than Amir Khan, it does not equal Collazo deserves a shot for Terence Crawford. You understand that those two things are separate, right?
Okay.
Like, I can think
If
both
Collazo
guys are not
fought-
deserving because they're not deserving, but clearly Collazo is more deserving, even though he still isn't deserving on a general standpoint.
If Collazo fought Khan,
Collazo
Next
wins in
month.
a rematch.
Who was
Collazo wins in a
fifth?
rematch. Collazo wins in a rematch easily.
okay. So you're just judging all of this off Khan getting iced by a guy 2 weight classes bigger than him in a fight that he was winning.
Khan is
That's what
shot.
you're judging this off?
No, Khan is shot. Khan looks like a complete shot fighter. Like when Roy Jones started looking shot, this is what Amir Khan looks like. He is shot. He's be fighting the Bobby
Khan-
Guns
what
of the
is Khan, though?
world.
He's not old. He's maybe 32. Like, he's not old. 31, 30. He's not that old.
Okay.
I mean, he's the same age as Crawford. I don't know. Maybe he's totally shot, right? He has he has gotten iced on a few occasions, right? Maybe he is shot. I don't know. But
I guarantee you
but
this.
I'd
I
rather-
guarantee you this, Gary. If Amir Khan fights Crawford, he doesn't win a single round, and he gets knocked out.
No, but nobody wins a round on Crawford. I just think if you fight Floyd Mayweather, you're going to lose every round. Probably. If you fight Pernell Whitaker, you're going to lose every round. Probably. I mean, that's not Khan. Collazo's not going to win a round either. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Keith Thurman would win a round with Terence Crawford.
At least Collazo got that pop.
Collazo does, and you're right. Collazo would probably be losing to Khan and probably put him to sleep in the middle round. Probably that would happen. You're right. So, all right, I'll root for the Collazo fight, even though he's going to get so much crap if he fights Collazo, because Collazo's lost to every A fighter he's faced.
He gets crap for either
But-
one, Gary. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah, but at least the Collazo fights, I don't have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
And if Khan versus Crawford would be in March, the week after Spence and Mikey bombed on pay-per-view. You know how bad that fight was on pay-per-view? So, yeah, I'm hoping that Khan takes the Brooks fight instead. Although, I guess it's a better question for Rob. Could he get $5 million to face Brooks? How big is that fight over there?
Khan and Brook.
Yes.
Yeah,
Would Khan get close to
that is still a big fight over here. That's pay-per-view money, everything. That's big money.
So he could get that same $5 million?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then he should take that out. Who would you rather fight for seeing that money? Cal Brooks or Terence Crawford?
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
Go fight Brooks.
That's a hard one. Even though Cal Brooks like older, like Cal Brooks is still a much bigger man. Historically, a little more pop in this division. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Both fights he loses.
Yeah, he does lose both fights. But how much left? I mean, do you think Brooks can get back to a championship level, or do you think he's done?
I don't know.
I'm really interested in what Bob says.
I don't know about Kell Brook. To me, his comeback has been slow and a little bit anticlimactic in a lot of ways. So I don't know about Kell Brook and where he stands in the next 5 years and what he's going to look like.
Just so you exactly know how Kell Brook is right now. Eddie Hearn has not long tweeted that he has never seen Kell Brook this focused.
Of course. Kell Brook he's never looked this good in his whole career, of course. But Kell Brook hasn't really looked the same. I could sort of chalk that up to him being at 154 for his last fight or two. And I think he was kind of just too big. Like, he's too bulky at that division. I think he's better when he's a little more leaned out, a little more quicker. Hopefully he gets with a good nutritionist and he go back to 147. But if he does and he can stay healthy, I think he's still a relevant player in that division. I don't know if he's going to be the guy that's going to take over in any sort of way. But he's still, it gets down to 147, he's healthy at that weight, he's still a top 10 guy, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think
One guy.
Cal does it healthy anymore, but he was going to do it for the Amir Khan fight. But
at 154, I see him too undersized and too overweight at that weight class, if that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at him compared to the 54-pounders historically, like Shane Mosley and Perry Norris, like, he doesn't look small compared to those guys. But if you look at the current crop of 54-pounders, like Munguia and Hurd and Charlo and even Trout, those guys are way bigger than him. So his advantage, one of his strengths at 47 was that he was typically the physically stronger guy. He's not going to have that at 54. Those boys are big at 54.
I agree. Anything else, Gary?
Yeah. The 300,000, 320 pay-per-view buys, I don't know. Maybe that's just the era that we're in. That's a good number, but it's not a bad number. But I was expecting it to come in over 400. I really was. I was expecting between 4 and 5. So it's good, but like if you multiply that out, right? $75 a pop, I think it was. 300. Let's say it was 405. That's that's $30 million total and total pay-per-view revenue. That's not huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was going to get more than that from all the hype and buzz it was getting.
I agree.
Like, how much would a 3-city press tour cost? You know what I mean? It's the time and money and everything that's gone into it. I know they're saying that the 250,000 was the break-even number, but I seem to remember Espinoza mentioning 400,000 was what they'd be happy with. Whether that means, as long as it does that, we've covered ourselves and that. So I don't know. I agree with you, Gary. I just felt, we always hear, but they're heavyweights as well. It's heavyweights, and you've got Tyson Fury talking like he was talking, and he's the man that beat the man, and you've got Wilder with 40 fights, 39 knockouts. I feel it should have done better than it did, but obviously, like you say, in this day and age, that seems to be a good number. So they're happy with it.
And then the other thing is just digital. They haven't added in the what does that even mean? What is that? What other way was there to order this that I'm not aware of?
So, Gary, obviously you can order a pay-per-view through your cable box, right? Through whatever TV provider you have, right? That is the number that's being talked about, the 320,000. Digital would be if I would buy the pay-per-view off of Showtime anytime, like their app. That's digital. If I were to buy it off my PS4, that's digital. Like anything like that that's not on your cable box is technically digital. If you have to stream it, Wi-Fi, that sort of thing, digital.
And that's the same $74.99 price or whatever, $75?
Yes. But the difference is, Gary, and me and Rob went into this a little bit early in the show. Definitely go back and check it out. But the way it works usually is that, let's say Showtime, just to sort of put a name to it, they only get 50 to 70% of the linear pay-per-view buys. So the 320,000, they're only making about 70% of that revenue. The rest goes to your cable provider, honestly. Digital, they make 100% off of.
Okay. So they want you to buy it digitally. Like they want you to do that.
That's why, if you've noticed in recent years, they've been pushing more digital options to pay for pay-per-views because of that.
Okay. That makes sense. So, this could come in a lot higher then. But people my age, I'm 35, Rob is, 70, 80, I don't know how old he is. I don't know how to do that. People your age might buy it digitally, so it could come in. Could it come in over 400? I don't know how many people buy it.
Obviously, when you count in digital, when you count in the UK pay-per-views, it's going to obviously be more than just the 320. But in terms of what we talk about, the industry standard in terms of reference points is linear buys. It's never digital. We never really mention that number in a combined total because the split is different. Because they only collect 70% at the most from linear TV buys. Digital is different. It's just a different ball game, a different economic sort of system.
Okay, I got you. That's all I got today, Matt.
Well, thank you, Gary. Always appreciate your calls.
Catch you next time, Gary.
We're going to head out to Rob Gotti. Mr. Rob Gotti, how are you?
Hey, Matt. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks. What's up, Rob?
How you doing, Rob? Nice name.
Rob, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Germany, man.
Ah, nice. We're from in Germany.
Do you know Frankfurt?
Yes. Yes, I do know Frankfurt. Yes.
Yeah, that's where I live at.
Okay. Well, Rob, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to debate? What do you want to get off your chest?
I just heard about Amir Khan about to face Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bad matchup for Amir Khan. He's still avoiding the Kell Brook fight. I thought at the fight, what was it, the last fight, where they meet face to face, they had a conversation, and then he told Kell Brook, "You will be next." And he's talking so much bullshit, Amir Khan, all these years, all the time ducking Kell Brook. If he's not fighting Kell Brook, I don't want to see him. He's going to get flatlined against Crawford, no hope whatsoever. And $5 million is okay, right? But with the UK pay-per-view and the revenue in the UK, they could easily sell out the stadium in the summer. He could get more, like £7 million or something like that. So the $5 million is no excuse. And he's been a world champion before. He won't get the title of Crawford, so you can forget that.
I agree with everything you just said.
What's your points on that, Rob?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've got to get the Brook fight. If it doesn't happen now, we're not going to see it. And where do these guys go from there? I think Brook has mentioned that if he doesn't get the Khan fight, he's going to go looking for the champions at 154. And Khan, does he go and do the Crawford fight? I don't know, but they've got to face each other. They've just got to, and it does appear the hold up is maybe. Oh, Midi's going to go crazy, but I think it's Khan holding this back. I think he wants the biggest amount of money he can get with the least danger.
But the thing is, they both on the downslide at the carrier. They have to do it now because we saw last time with Vargas, Khan was stunned. He was almost out of there against a lower level guy. So and Brook doesn't look impressive as well as against subpar opponents, so they have to do it now or the fight will be gone.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with you.
Yep, so you guys heard about the passing of Markus Bayer, German former super middleweight WBC champion?
Yeah, I saw something about that right before we went on air. I didn't really read into it. Rest in peace, obviously, condolences to his family.
He passed away yesterday, I guess, and he had a short and heavy, what it's called. He was battling cancer, I think kidney cancer at the late stage, and he just discovered it, so he had no chance whatsoever. So he just passed.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it is.
Before that, Graziano Rocchigiani passed away. 2 German legends passed away this year, end of the year, so it's like kind of sad.
I agree.
And we got to keep Donna Stevenson in our prayers. Hopefully, he will make it out and not have some severe damage. He can live a normal life. Because everybody that goes in the ring is a warrior. We don't want to see that. That's pretty tough. I'm not the biggest Adonis Stevenson fan, but you don't wish that on nobody. Don't matter what he has done in the past. Don't matter. I've read on so many forums like he deserves it, this and that. You don't wish this stuff on nobody. So prayers up for Adonis.
I agree. I agree. Anything else, Rob?
That's pretty much it, man.
Thank you for the great call, man. And I agree, man, that we just big emphasis on that. Like, obviously, I don't agree with Adonis Stevenson's past lifestyle at all, his prior transgressions, but you never wish on your, your biggest enemies. You don't want anyone to go through that sort of health risk or anything like that. That would be just sad. And of course, prayers, rest in peace, Condolences to the two German boxers that passed away. Bayer, definitely a notable one for those that don't know their history. Go do it a little bit. It's always a fun to go back in the archive, go back on YouTube, see some of these guys' fights, and do a little more research in the sport that we love. I think we have one more caller. Oh, we have a couple more callers. Oh, we had one drop off. That's so sad. Sorry, Ron.
Was it Midi?
No, we had Ron the Mastermind drop off. I think he had to do the other show. It happens. But going out to a proud Patreon member from Texas, Fugatti. Well, I got an intro for you.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
That's my intro for you, Fugatti. How are you doing?
What up, guys?
How you doing?
On, Rob?
What's up?
Doing well, man. Vicky's giving it to everyone in the comments who talks bad about her man. That's all I'm saying.
I want smoke.
She is. That's my girl.
So starting at the pay-per-view buys, 320K sounds really good. I think they said, it's obviously not as good a fight, but Golovkin versus Lemieux was Golovkin's first pay-per-view, right? I think 150,000 or some shit. So, I mean, that seems like a great first pay-per-view for Wilder. Obviously, Fury is a big part of that, but it seems good money. I think they'll be happy with that. It doesn't seem like anyone can really hate on that. I mean, I know people will, but it doesn't seem like there should be a lot of room for hating on that. I'm surprised that Matt is not pushing for the Khan fight with Crawford, being such a Crawford stan.
Nah.
It's obviously a bigger fight.
Nah, that's the easier fight. That's the easier fight. I don't want that bullshit.
It's bullshit.
That's like an interim belt. That's some bullshit.
No, but I get it. But what I'm saying is, if what you can kind of see like what the shift is in the U.S. right now. There is a push for turning somebody into a pay-per-view star. There is this like all the promoters are looking for who can become like a pay-per-view star. Crawford fighting Khan in his first pay-per-view is his best chance.
Second. Sorry.
Yeah, don't forget the 50,000 buys.
We can't forget that shit, man. Shit's depressing.
Yeah. Okay. But if we're coming into this, right?
I played that for myself. I'm sorry.
Khan's a better fight for that. Khan's a better fight for him. Collazo, obviously wouldn't be on pay-per-view. Whatever. That would be a good fight. No one's upset. I don't think anyone's going to be upset about either one of those fights, specifically because the PBC fighters are not trying to come and fight Crawford. What's he supposed to do? Just stay inactive? Crawford's the boogeyman of 147. Everyone knows that. And I'm a Spence fan. I'm from Texas. I love Spence. But the dude's ducking Crawford for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's a good fight there, but it's not happening right now. So I don't know. I think Khan's bigger money. He's a bigger name. It would be a good pay-per-view in terms of whatever good is nowadays. I think it could do similar numbers with a good undercard, as maybe a Wilder Fury. Khan's a big name in the sport. What else do you guys talk about? Clarissa Shields fighting this weekend.
Your boy, obviously your boy Lomachenko's fighting this weekend. All the fights this weekend. Crawford Khan, pay-per-view, Triple G going to DAZN or PBC, that stuff.
Damn, that's a tough one right there, because I could see PBC, they might just make a huge offer just to keep him off DAZN, and then they got him to kind of serve him up to the Charlo, bro. Jamal, right? Jamal?
Yes.
160?
Yes, you casual.
Yeah.
Very quick. Eric Cruz in the chat. Foo. Eric Cruz in the chat said, "What? Spence is the truth. Foo is from Florida."
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
I love Spence, but why are those guys ducking Crawford? I think it's a serious question. Why is everyone ducking Crawford at 147? He's trying
Come on, don't be scared, homie.
But yeah, I think Triple G ends up on DAZN. I guess just if no other reason, I just hope he ends up on DAZN. Just that's just a little bit of a rub toward the PBC for me. But Loma and Pedraza, this is a good fight. I know you, Matt. You're a Pedraza. You like Pedraza, right?
I respect Pedraza enough to know that he could last all 12 with Loma.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to you before about you saying he had some talent. So I think it's another I don't want to take this to Keith Thurman or shit on Keith Thurman for this, but Loma's coming back from a surgery right into another really tough fight at 135, and there's always this case to be made that people can't come back from an injury into a really tough fight.
But this isn't a really tough fight.
We still got Thurman doing nothing.
Would you say this is a tough fight?
I think this is a second fight in a weight class that he just entered against a very talented fighter. I think that Loma obviously is in a class of his own as a boxer. So I don't know that I would take Pedraza as a favorite, but I think that, I think that coming off an injury and taking a fight like this takes balls for sure. I mean, he was 4 months inactive, I believe. I don't think Loma's trained for 4 months up till he started his training camp period, which is not normal for the guy. He's always in training. So it's going to be probably a different look for Loma. And just little things, I know it's weird, but I watch all the training videos from pretty much all the boxers. And if you go back and look, if you watch some of his stuff training up to this fight, he had little misses. He's an extremely accurate puncher, but the tennis ball workout that he does, he had a lot of times where he was missing with his left hand, which I don't know. That's not the hand he hurt, but you could tell he just wasn't as honed in as he normally is. So I'm interested to see how he looks this weekend. I don't even know who else fights on that card. Is there anything else good on that card?
Whoa. My boy Isaac Dogby on the card. Teofimo Lopez on the card. Come on, man. Show some respect.
Yeah, Lopez is going to have to prove himself.
You fucking casual.
Dogby, that's good. That's a good. And, he's fighting Emmanuel, he said?
Yeah, Emmanuel Navarrete.
Earlier in the... Yeah. That's a good fight. I mean, like you said, you can never trust the full Mexican resume, right? But we'll see what happens. And Teofimo Lopez, I like the guy, but he's really mouthy for someone who really has no resume. But I mean, I guess that's what a lot of people like. So we'll see. Like Rob said, what fucking game
Fortnite.
dance he does, whatever that game is. Fortnite, yeah. That's a silly game. Whatever dance he does with that, right? This is next week, I think, the 15th. But did you see Katie Taylor and Eva Wallstrom are fighting?
Yeah, they're going to be on the Canelo card, right?
Yeah. It's so I think it's going to be a pretty big one because I think Wallstrom's stepping up undefeated as a champ from the way below Katie Taylor. So that seems like a pretty big step up fight for Taylor. Shouldn't have a ton of fights so far, but there's some good female fights coming up. I know Nigel was mentioning some of them in the chat, but I kind of like where everything's going right now. I think Loma's gonna win though, my man. Beat your Pedraza guy up. Smack his ponytail off.
Who you talking to? Who's Pedraza's guy?
You're Pedraza's
why? When have I ever really bigged up Pedraza? You said this in the beginning of the call. I didn't really address it. I'm like, whatever. That doesn't really make any sense. But okay, maybe I mentioned that Gervonta win over Pedraza means something, and now Fugatti remembered it a year later and brings it up. I don't know. But When has Pedraza been my guy?
That's what it was. You were bigging up Tank for beating Pedraza.
Yes.
That's exactly what it was. Now, you judge.
Because Pedraza beat Tevin Farmer.
Oh.
Oh.
Who
the fuck is that guy?
Who's this fucking casual on my show?
Fugatti is back.
God damn.
Oh, man.
I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, you know, people like that get slapped.
It's bullshit. Hey, pussy, are you still there?
Dude, sound bites are on point today. So, yeah, man, I don't know. It's been a good week. The Fury fight. So, I wanted to ask you guys, this was something I put in a little chat earlier. It looks like Warren is really trying to make sure that a Fury-Joshua fight happens.
Sorry,
So-
I didn't hear you. I'm still laughing.
In the, I know, man. Your sound bites were going wild right there for a second.
I know. Thank you.
It
No,
really looks
I'm
like
confused, Fu, because
Warren
every
won.
other article that comes out contradicts the one before, and it's all from the people that are involved. It's really strange.
Wait. Sorry, because again, I was laughing. I don't know what you guys are talking about. What are you guys talking about?
Just like, who wants to fight Joshua? Who wants to fight?
Oh, the whole
Fury?
Usyk, because Frank Warren brought up the Oleksandr Usyk. We forgot to even mention that. I forgot to put in my show lineup. My bad. My B. Obviously, my AJ hate coming out. Sheep. But anyways.
No, don't go there.
Too soon. Hashtag too soon. But I don't know what to make of it. One, since Frank Warren said it, I really don't address it. Like it's like when he brought up the whole the negotiation between AJ and Wilder. Like, fucking who cares? Like, it's Frank Warren. He's just talking out of his ass because that's what Frank Warren does. He's he's one of the best trolls in boxing that no one really knows is trolling everyone in boxing. So the second that I saw that was Frank Warren, I kind of discounted it, I'll be honest. With the obvious layup that is the rematch with Wilder Fury, those two guys off the table, White Chisora up in a couple weeks. The winner of that's fighting AJ. Like, let's stop pretending. Like, honestly.
But they instantly came out and said we're gonna
Yeah.
us and the British Boxing Board of Control are gonna demand that we get the immediate rematch with Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's straight out saying we need to talk with Eddie Hearn because we want to make the
again. Our source is Frank Warren.
I know, but then there's also Wilder saying that we'll listen to Hearn's team, and now he's saying he's not messing with April 13th again, and that it's back to we'll do the rematch. It's just so many. It's like no one in each other's team is talking to each other. It's really odd. Just every other report is.
Well, here's my thing is.
Go ahead,
I wasn't speaking on Usyk. I think that Warren is saying, kind of like almost goading Eddie and them into setting up a Fury fight. Like, hey, we all know they just signed Usyk to get him that Joshua fight, to give Joshua somebody, to feed Joshua somebody. Like, that's how I think Warren's saying it. So that, Eddie knows he can't make that fight, which I don't think they want to make that fight anyways. But then I think that the point of the matter is, Warren wants the Fury fight with Joshua because it's a shit ton of money. And so I really think Eddie being petty enough, he could, what if they made an offer, a 50-50 offer to Fury, or close to a 50-50? Fury never going to take it, and then that would, steal the thunder from the Wilder Fury rematch. That's what I think could potentially happen for April. Because Eddie's going to want to remove some of the leverage from Wilder. If they do another pay-per-view rematch immediately after, it's going to be big. And then they have to pay Wilder more money. Whereas, if they get Fury in the ring and Joshua beats him, potentially knocks him out or something, it's a harder sell for Wilder to get what he wants. It also doesn't give Wilder as big a reason to rematch Fury. It puts a lot of leverage on Eddie and AJ's side.
but I agree with a lot of what you're saying.
At last.
What? I mean, I mainly agree. Yeah.
At last, we agree with something Fu is saying.
Because he didn't sound like a casual there. Casual. Yo, Fu's gonna go cry. Don't be thin-skinned, Fu. Don't be thin-skinned, man.
I'm gonna leave the chat. No, but dude, I love seeing Robbie on the show. Great show. The calls were awesome. Gary roasting Rob was fantastic.
Yeah, Rob's 90 years old. Gary, stop being polite.
Cheeky bastard. I'm only 67.
And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I'll talk to you guys in the chat. And I mean, I can't wait to see more of the show. And like everybody in the chat said, consensus from the chat, we have to get the UK hour back. So make it happen, boys.
I mean, do we need the UK hour just to be like a separate show? And thank you, Fugati, for your call.
Very quick from the chat. This is great. Augustus Berg put Triple G on PBC is catchy.
It is kind of catchy. I'm not going to lie. And plus, like, I'll just be honest, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing now. Like, they got Pacquiao. Like, the theoretical divide and which boxers weren't with Al Heyman kind of went away with Pacquiao moving there. So if Triple G went there now, post Pacquiao moving there, not the most surprising thing. Beforehand, I agree it's pretty surprising, but I think it's a little bit different now hand, even though I still think DAZN probably is the clear, even though it might be a small favorite to land that Triple G contract. But moving out to Santiago in LA, our last caller of the day. Santiago, how you doing?
Hey, doing good, man. Just here working. Got some time to call in. What's up, Rob? Nice to see you on the show. I know Nigel and a couple of other fans of yours are happy to have the UK hour back, so kudos. And yeah, I personally think that 320K for Wilder Fury is not that bad, especially for their pay-per-view debuts for both men. And definitely people do need to realize that in the days of Pacquiao Mayweather, when they were averaging $1 million, they had incredible star power. You know, they made the fights that were intriguing, grabbed our attention. They have the personalities, you know, Mayweather the brash, bravado villain, the heel, Pacquiao the good Samaritan, you know, world icon. And these guys are basically just getting themselves, you know, made out there. You know, so I'm happy what they did. I definitely think they did well, and I can only imagine what the pay-per-view total will be when they calculate everything else. Like, I'm personally curious what the theater turnout might be, because don't forget that this fight was also in theaters. And in theaters, this was going for $25.
Sorry, I was typing something out to a listener. I agree with what you say, Santiago. I assume.
No, just repeat that last bit. I just caught it, and then something happened in here. I had to.
Right, Bob, you're laughing at me for not listening, but you didn't listen either. I see how it is. I see how it is.
It's bullshit. Cable all went crazy.
Back to Santiago.
Rewind, Santi, just that little bit. You mentioned like 25.
I was basically saying I wonder what the theater turnout must have been like, because remember that in theaters, here at least, I could go to my local theater and I only have to pay $25 to watch the pay-per-view versus paying $75 to watch it at home. So I can only imagine what they did in the sense of like the theaters.
I think.
What are your guys?
I think it's not going to be too much, because I want to vaguely remember #Matt Stats. Maybe Rob can look this up. I want to say like Mayweather Pacquiao only did like 8 million, something like that, from like Fathom events, so to speak, right? I don't think they made like a ton of money, but they still get like all of that. Like that's all theirs. That's another 8 million. So I don't think it's gonna be as much as some people might say, or definitely not as much as pay-per-view revenue. It just isn't.
Yeah. And then I think they make the Amir Khan fight. You know, if Amir Khan can get the fight with with Canelo, a guy that was 2 classes above him. Who's to say they can't get him in there with Crawford? You know, everyone knows he's gonna get decapitated by him, but I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that we're gonna soon enough see those two standing on the podium, posing for the cameras, and we're just gonna sit there, roll our eyes, and be all like, "Well, so long. It's been a good ride, Con. I remember when you used to be unified at 140."
R.I.P.
R.I.P. indeed, man.
Anything else, Santi?
No, that's about it. Unless either one of you two has a question, that's my call. Share, like, support the show, follow them on IG, Twitter, and Facebook, and I'll see you guys at another show.
Thank you, Santiago. Obviously, I'll probably see you sometime either this weekend or next weekend for some live fight chat. Obviously, UFC pay-per-view this weekend, so most likely they're going to do a live fight chat for Holloway versus Ortega. Sorry, Rob. You can do one. You can do one for Lomachenko if you want. You can stay up at 5 a.m.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. You're welcome.
Or the one that's on at my time, right? Cal Brook.
Oh, you could. Yeah, we could definitely do that. I forgot about that. Shit, we can do something for that. But anyways,
Kelly and Fowler as well.
I saw you doing a little Googling over there. Did you find any source for Matt's stats, or where?
No, I'm never going to dispute Matt's stats.
Damn. That's going to be an interesting show. That's for damn sure. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Be back, like I said, tomorrow for the MMA show. Going to preview of all the action these last couple weeks. I know I've been gone. All the news, all that stuff. Rob most likely won't be on. It's okay. Because it's MMA only. But schedule's going to be a little weird this like next few days. Next week, starting Sunday through obviously Sunday, like week to week, we should have a finalized schedule for a new revamped show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. But like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Catch us on podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Smash the like button, share the show, subscribe. I am Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Find me at Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Go to patreon.com/Mixed Comment Radio. All proceeds goes towards this show, goes towards keeping the lights on, goes towards paying old Robbie there to stay on with me. And because he's old, this is his retirement fund, basically, is MCR. So
what was that, Sonny? I didn't. What? Say it again, Sonny.
Yes. So we definitely need to do that. Wayne saying confession time. First time I listened to an entire show. Wow.
Well, Wayne, MMA bullshit.
Well, is that because of the MMA? I'll be curious about that. Because if so, that makes complete sense. I have no issue with that. But anyways, be back, like I said, tomorrow. Rob?
Yeah, I just, thanks for everybody. Obviously, hit that thumbs up. Tell people all about it. We obviously want to grow. We've got a long way to go, But hopefully we're going to be bringing some new ideas to, the podcast and on live on YouTube. There's a lot of ideas that we're, sort of coming up together and thinking of. So hopefully we'll be bringing you a real good sort of visual experience. Maybe I can green screen some hair on or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that would be nice.
Yeah, it's something new. Hopefully we can get this off and up and running and really help kick Mixed Combat Radio forward. And I'm hoping to be bringing you footage and interviews and things like that as well. So it won't just be the podcast that you'll see up on the channel. There'll be like usual videos that you can click on as well. So hopefully big things around the corner. So stick with it, stay with us, and we'll hopefully deliver. And like Matt said at the start, we're trying to get a Skype link, make it easier for you guys to just, click on and call in on Skype. So, yeah, lots of things to try and get done. But Matt's not on his own anymore. So that's half the share, the workload already. But just want to leave you with my favourite part of the entire Fury Wilder build-up and fight and everything. It was on Showtime.
What is that song? I believe the Beatles had it. Is all you need is one. Deontay Wilder just needs one shot.
All you need is one, people. One is all you need.
What are you talking about, man?
Goddamn. And quickly, I won't cut off the music for this because Rob, Rob called me up, and this is what he said. I have actual audio of it.
But you commit to me, and you get a piece of my heart, and you get my commitment, I'm gonna make you a star, motherfucker.
And I was like, okay, let's go. So that is what happened. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one. Peace.
Later.